Housing economists are like the weather people that we watch on TV. They can get a forecast completely wrong, yet still keep their job. It's nuts how this continues to persist in our industry. But on this channel, we talk about the facts, the
cold, hard facts.
And we make sure that people are informed as to what's actually going on rather than in some pie-in-the-sky type scenario. Brian here with Lamacchia Realty, and I've got an article pulled up that talks a little bit about the current Q3 data that we have, and
surprise, surprise,
it is very different than what most economists called for here in Q3 of 2023. So let's jump right into it. All right, again, this is from Housing Wire. Low inventory drives U.S. home prices up 5.5% year over year in Q3. U.S. house prices rallied again in the third quarter of 2023. In fact, home prices rose 2.1% quarter over quarter and 5.5% year over year in Q3, according to the Federal Housing Finance Agency, FHFA, House Price Index. Month over month, the FHFA seasonally adjusted monthly index ticked up 0.6% in September. U.S. home prices growth continued to accelerate in the third quarter, appreciating more than in each of the previous 4 quarters. Anju Vaha, Principal Associate Director in FHFA's Division of Research and Statistics, said in a statement, house prices rose in the third quarter in all census divisions and are higher than 1 year ago, driven primarily by a low supply of homes for sale. Did economists not realize that if you jack up interest rates, it's going to prevent people from listing their homes for sale because they quite simply just cannot afford to sell their house because they can't afford to buy a new house? Like, it just makes perfect sense. It's like this lock-in effect that we're seeing, and it still persists out there despite rates coming down, but we're going to get to that in a little bit. Home prices appreciated in almost all 50 states year over year. Vermont, Maine, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and New Jersey recorded the highest annual appreciation rates, posting 11.8%, 11.1%, 10.3%, 9.9%, and 8.7% in home price gains, respectively. So I am here in the Northeast, and I can tell you that home prices are up in general about 10% year over year, which is absolutely insane given the fact that interest rates, in fact, I've got a chart pulled up here talking about the interest rates. So you can see this is back in like September. This is Q3 of 2022. We're at 5.5%, 6%, somewhere around there, and it shot up pretty dramatically very quickly. But let's say, you know, it was at trending in Q3 of 2022, it was at 6%, and here we are in like September where it's like 7%, 7.5%. So let's say it's a 1.5% difference between this. So between the two. So this is where the economists got it all wrong, where they said, okay, well, if interest rates go up, and they did, we should see home prices at least stabilize and start to come down. What they did not account for is the fact that housing supply dropped in kind with the rising interest rates. So as more people realized, I can't move because I've got this ultra low interest rate, mortgage rate, in my existing home, I quite simply just cannot afford to move. So as a result, you saw the inventory come down about 25%. Now, what's most interesting here is they talk about these areas that are appreciating the fastest in the nation. This is New England, right? So I am, again, in New England, and I am seeing this firsthand. In fact, my video from last week talked about buyers being everywhere. There are tons of people moving back to the area because they dabbled during the pandemic. They were like, well, you know, I could buy a place down in, I don't know, let's say Georgia or Florida or out in Arizona for a lot less money. They tried that out and they didn't really like it. I think a lot of people came to the realization that, you know, the public schools in the Northeast in particular are phenomenal in general. So I really thought it was going to be comparable down in the Southeast or the Southwest or out on the West Coast, but it really isn't. So I'm going to move back to the Northeast. So you're seeing this tremendous influx of people who I think previously lived here that moved out and now are moving back. Now, the other reason for people moving back is a lot of these people that left, when they left, they were working for companies here. Again, let's use Boston as an example. You're working for a company in Boston, and or everything was work from home, right? So now you have the flexibility to go live in Georgia or go live in Arizona. But now all of these companies are saying, well, we need you back in the office 3 days a week, 4 days a week. Actually, we need you in the office full time. So as a result, people are saying, well, it doesn't make sense, obviously, to quit my job and then go find another job in Arizona. Instead, I will just move back to the area. And that is what is fueling this influx of buyers into the New England market. Let's keep reading. Meanwhile, the two areas with the most significant annual price depreciation were Hawaii and the District of Columbia, posting negative rates of appreciation of minus 0.9% and minus 0.8%. So essentially flat. Zooming in on all metropolitan areas, home prices rose in 93 of the top 100 largest metro areas. Albany, Schenectady, Troy, New York, go RPI. Ranked first, posted the biggest annual appreciation rate at 12.4%. Meanwhile, Austin, Round Rock, Georgetown, Texas recorded the biggest year-over-year decline of down 5%. Now, if you remember, Austin, Texas was on fire. That place was just, those home prices just appreciated much faster than the rest of the country. So even though it's down 5%, it's still up way more than what the average city would be. Overall, the New England Census Division recorded the strongest appreciation, posting a 9.2% increase. The Pacific Division recorded the smallest four-quarter home price appreciation rate at 2%. So let's just talk about this for a second. Okay, 9.2%. I'm going to round up, say 10%. So here's the reality. Interest rates have gone up from Q3 of 2022 to Q3 of 2023 by at least a minimum full percentage point. Now, for every 1% that the interest rate goes up, the mortgage interest rate goes up, your purchasing power goes down by 13%. Okay? Think about this. This is saying home prices have gone up 10%. So when you combine that with the 13%, roughly 13% that it's gone up, the net prices of these homes are actually up closer to 25%. No one is doing this math. This is simple math. I can't believe more people aren't talking about this. No one ever expected rising interest rates to have this kind of effect on home prices. There's a huge disconnect. What it just goes to show is that the demand for housing is huge. It is so much bigger than what we could even possibly anticipate. People always talk about that there is a shortage of housing in the United States and we're just not building enough. Well, that is clearly obvious when you look at these numbers, because in an environment where interest rates have gone up by a full percentage point, you would expect, everything else remaining constant, that the home prices would at least stabilize and if not start to come down a little bit. But that is just not what we're seeing, because there are not enough homes for sale, and there are certainly not enough new homes being built, especially here in the Northeast. And that is why you're seeing these home prices going up as fast as they are. Home price growth expected to slow in Q4. High mortgage rates combined with a typical seasonal slowdown will limit the number of buyers on the market in Q4. Bright MLS chief economist Lisa Sturdivant said in a statement, simultaneous new listing volume is up at the end of November, which might further cool home prices. Home prices are feeling the weight of high mortgage rates, which will slow the rate of price growth in the coming months, CoreLogic chief economist Selma Hepp said in a statement, and I am not buying that for a second. It is not. I am out there looking at houses with buyers. I'm meeting with sellers. Everyone knows that there are way more buyers than there are sellers. It is not going to have, these interest rates have not had an impact on home sale prices going down. They're just not. And to make a statement like this, back to the original statement, which is, this weather forecast is wrong. It doesn't matter. I still get paid. I wish I had that job, but I don't. So I don't know. What do you think? What are you seeing in your market? Is it bananas in your market like it is here in the Boston market? Or are you seeing things starting to taper off a little bit and settle down, and maybe even home prices come down? I'd love for you to chime in if you happen to be in somewhere maybe in the Pacific Division where home price appreciation is at 2%. Are you seeing things flatten out, or are you seeing things pick right back up? Because I can tell you about 3 weeks ago, the interest rates dropped by about, I want to say about 75 basis points over a 3-week period. And immediately the number of new mortgage applications shot up like 10, 15, 20%. So it is extremely likely that we're going to see continued home price appreciation in 2024. And this person this Selma Hap saying that we're going to see a slowdown in the rate of home price growth. Maybe we'll see a slowdown, but it's certainly not going to go away. Anyways, let me know down in the comments below what you're seeing in your market. And if you did enjoy content like this, give it a like, maybe subscribe to the channel. And that is all that I have for today. Hope you're having a great day. Catch you in the next one.